In this interview, I talked to celebrity fitness trainer Mike Ryan. Now, he's worked with the cast and crew on legendary films like Fight Club, plus The Rock for his role in the Mummy films, and he's trained Hollywood actors Mark Walberg and Mickey Rourke. So I hope you enjoy the interview. So can you recall any funny or interesting stories about exercising or coaching?
Oh boy, I have so many. I think one of the reasons why I work with a lot of people, I mean, anyone can basically show you what to do exercise, but people buy into your character and who you are and how you can motivate them. And I'll be honest, I'm very strict, but I definitely use a lot of humor. I mean, everyone needs to laugh. They need a break in the routine. I mean, a perfect example, when I was with Mickey Rourke in London, we were training at this really posh gym, you know, and it's just, Mickey's so out there, crazy, you know. So we're training, and after, you know, we go to clean up, and there's all these proper English gentlemen in their business suits in the locker room. So Mickey's in the shower. I just strip naked. I dive in the shower. We're just going crazy. People are like, what is going on with these two crazy Americans, you know? And of course, Mickey has a reputation of being crazy anyway. So yeah, we always have funny stories like that all the time.
Fantastic. I bet he's a wild character to hang out with.
Wild, absolutely. I mean, we were in the papers more time than you can imagine, you know. He's always up to Hi-Jinks.
What do you think is the most important lesson for a beginner to learn when they first start getting into fitness?
A couple things, and this is probably geared for the male audience, is to leave your ego at the door. Every guy wants to come in and they want results immediately, and they want to lift so much, so fast, that they're going to do it improperly. They'll probably hurt themselves, and more than anything, they'll get frustrated. It's like, oh, I've been training 5 days in a row and I'm not getting the results, and then they quit. Leave your ego at the door. Take your time when you're training. Use light weights so your body will adapt to what you're doing. And then follow it as a progression. Don't be like, you know, guys are so charged up. I'm sure you probably see them in every gym. It's like, guys come in there, they want to lift the world, you know what I mean? It's like, take your time. Legal, you know, it's like, oh, if I see someone doing so much weight, I have to compete with them. Don't. Leave your ego at the door. Keep it in check. You know, have a good experience, because it's going to be a lifestyle change. When I engage with people, it's something that I'm not going to see you for 6 weeks and that's it. It's what we do today is something you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. So take your time and have fun with it too. And for women, it's a lot of women, they have to debunk a lot of myths about, if I lift with weights, I'll get big. You know what I mean? It's almost they have to retrain their thought process, and it's no fault of the women. It's just years of, there's never been proper knowledge or education out there. Women should lift with weights. Weight training is, one thing about weight training over any exercise, it promotes bone density, so you get a stronger skeletal structure. So in your formative years, you don't want to be kind of keeled over and hunched up. You want to have this strong, you know, stately physique, and it's great. I mean, women need that because, you know, almost every woman's going to bear children. I mean, and these are exercises that are going to be great for pregnancy, post-pregnancy. You know, you lose the fat, you gain the weight. You know, everything's great. So for women, it's an educational process. It's just train with weights. Don't be intimidated, and they don't have to worry about lifting everything. You know, women are a lot smarter than men.
Brilliant.
Funny thing is, you can't spot reduce, and spot by spot reduce is, okay, I want abs. I'm gonna do sit-ups every day, 100 times a day, and have abs. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? And again, a problem is a lot of the infomercials will show, you know, do this, you know, amazing ab workout, you're gonna have abs. Abs, the only way you get abs is by eating properly, weight training, and doing a cardiovascular training to burn the fat. You know, you can't just sit there and do sit-ups all day, you know, and go have a pint of beer and think, oh, I did my 1,000 sit-ups, I want to be ripped again. You know what I mean? It's just, everything you have to do, it encompasses your whole training, you know, training, eating right, cardiovascular, so you can't spot reduce.
What about nutrition? What should they be eating before they work out, and how long before should they eat something?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's all dependent on people's schedule. You know what I mean? If you, and I hate to, you know what I mean, everyone's schedule is so crazy, but ideally you want to eat at least an hour before you weight train. You want to have something. People think, oh, I'll eat on an empty stomach. No, you definitely need, it's like an automobile. You need that gas for energy. You need that fuel. So you want to have definitely a high protein, moderate carbohydrate, moderate fat meal, at least an hour to 90 minutes before you do engage in rigorous training. And by proteins are any animal-derived products. You know, chickens, fish, steak, eggs, egg whites, all types, turkey, you know, that's all those. And then your carbs, great source of carbohydrates, you know, your vegetables, fruits. Then you want to get a steady flow of good natural fats. You know, you want to stay away from the trans fats, but example, like I have a lot of nuts, peanut butter, almond butter, you know, they're a high fat, but they're an essential fat. Your body needs those. Avocados are good essential fat. Yeah, so and it just, yeah, you want to train, want to have a meal, you know, at least 90 minutes prior to training, and then on the reverse spectrum, after you train, you want to ingest a meal within 60 to 90 minutes after you train, because your muscle cells, they're all open. They need the nutrients. You just exhausted your body, and now's the time to feed. And as you feed, what your body do, it becomes more catabolic, so it's going to start burning fat more readily. You can get your body in tune so much that you can pretty much burn fat while you're sleeping, and it's pretty wild. Yeah. Yeah, for me, I try and eat, if you're very active, you want to try and eat about every 2.5 to 3 hours. And by that, I mean a small snack I would count a meal. You know what I mean? So you have a breakfast. If you eat at 7, like 10 o'clock, have a handful of nuts, have an apple, you know what I mean? And then have your lunch. Then afternoon, have like another snack, then have your dinner, you know. Small, tiny meals throughout the day, constant grazing, and it just keeps the body burning fat more efficiently.
Okay, so what's your #1 health and fitness tip that people can take away from watching this video and they can actually put into action straight away?
Okay, what you want to do is you don't want to quit. You want to start something and make it part of your daily life, make it a part of your routine. And for me, one of the best motivating tips I do is I'd say take a picture of yourself. Take a picture of yourself now, and take a picture of yourself at your best, or someone you emulate, a physique you emulate, and post it. Have it in your bathroom, have it by your kitchen, post it on your fridge. So, I mean, we're all visual people, and we want to see what we look like at our worst, and we'd be like, oh, then you dread it. And then on the reverse, you want to see what we can look like at our best. And it inspires you and it motivates you. And of course, everyone I tell to do this, they're like, I'm not taking a picture. I'm like, you have to. And I mean, and a lot of times I'm like, we're taking a picture right now, take your shirt off. Guys, like, I'm going to kill you. But after a while, they're like, they all save their picture. Like, I save my fat picture. I will never lose that fat picture, because I look at that person and I say, I will never be that person again. So I use a lot of visualization for motivating factors. And I think that's one thing people can do. And because when people decide to make a change in their life, it's because they're tired of how they look. Whether they just walk by a mirror in a store and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I let myself go. I mean, capture that moment on film and there you are, and you can't lie. It's not like you never look like that. That's what you look like. And then again, if you're in the best shape of your life, or if someone's physique that you admire, you post that and say, I can do that, I can achieve that.
So what's the most important thing a beginner can do to make their exercise routine a habit?
Keep a daily journal. So as you write things out, it's becoming part of your life, and in your journal, write like everything you do. Like, all right, I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I ate a nutritious meal, I ran 5K, I went to work, I ate so much. After work, I went to the gym and I trained my arms. You start writing all these things down, that it becomes second nature, and include everything from, you know, like the simple things like I said, brushing your teeth. Just people are like, why do I have to write it? It's like, because when you start writing it and envisioning, you're going to equate exercise with brushing your teeth. So it's like, I have to do this every day. It's essential for me to do. And so someone like, oh, maybe I'll train today. Oh, I don't have time. You know what I mean? You got to make yourself a priority and write it down and envision it, and it's going to be part of your daily routine. And after a while, it just becomes second nature. You know what I mean? After, you know what I mean, within the people I work with, after, you know, 4 to 6 weeks, there's no more journals, because people know. You know what I mean? And they're just like, yeah, I just brushed my teeth, I went for a run. I'm like, I really didn't ask you. Like, oh, okay. You know, but it's so second nature to them now.
So can you recount any inspiring stories about people that you've actually helped training and improve their fitness levels?
Oh, actually, I just, a client of mine, his name's Charles. There's a big show in America called Dr. Phil, and he's a talk show host. And Charles actually, it was a very sad story. You know, he had very loving parents, and they passed away. And through his sadness, he kind of indulged in food, and he did this challenge, and he started getting help, and he sought, which was good. He sought experts in all the fields. You know, I mean, he contacted me, and through our experiences, he's lost 180 pounds. and he has a whole new outlook on life, and he's, he's like this poor, overweight, depressed man to this young, vibrant corporate executive. His whole life changed, his whole other changed, and now he's become an inspiration for thousands. He had a story on TV, and people just like, and so many people can relate to someone like him, one like me, because I've been training since I've been 12. I've been in shape my whole life, so people just like, that's you, But everyone seems to go up and down in life, and he was down low, and he gained, he was almost 400 pounds, and now he's back to, he's like 230 pounds, and he looks great. So, and he's gonna get in better shape too. So he's an inspiration. So it's great working with celebrities. It's cool, it's dynamic. You go everywhere, but when you just meet the nuts and bolts, the regular Joes of the world that really struggle just to make their life better, that's inspiring.
And what are the common mistakes that you see people make when they first start exercising and get in shape?
If you don't know, ask. Don't be afraid to ask people, and ask professionals. Don't ask some guy who's, just lift 500 pounds and hurt himself. You know what I mean? Ask professionals and do a lot of research. Find proper literature. There's so many good publications out there that you can learn from these things. And there's so many chat rooms and blogs about fitness and training that this day and age, that if you don't train properly, it's almost, you should be ashamed of yourself, because there's so much good education and good nutrition out there.
So is there any of your favorite resources that you can name for people? Anything in particular that you really like?
I was fortunate enough, I was affiliated with this book called Body of Life, and it was a huge seller in America throughout the 90s. And what it is, it's basically just the ABCs of training, nutrition, and supplementation, just taking regular vitamins, multivitamins, minerals, everything. And it's just very basic, And it's a simple book, and it's wonderful, and it's a great read, and it's so informative. And then of course you have, for the advanced, like Arnold Schwarzenegger has a book, The Modern Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, which takes it to the next level if you feel like you're advanced. And it's a thick, big book, and these guys are, Bill Phillips with Body for Life was a pioneer in his field, and of course Arnold, he's famous, and he would never put out any misinformation. So they're very reputable sources, and yeah, I still refer to those.
Yeah, we have that Arnold book.
It's great.
It's a fantastic.
And it's so cool just seeing, here's Arnold, the governor, the actor, and everything's like, okay, try this exercise. You're like, all right.
So what do you think is the biggest barrier then for people when they're trying to get fit?
It's tough. You know what I mean? There's no quick fixes. In America, that's the problem. There's so many infomercials about you can lose this fast, you can do this in a week. You know what I mean? There is no quick fixes. And the hardest thing that you have to realize, what you're doing now, the groundwork that you lay now, is going to benefit you years down the road. So you have to stay with it, and it has to be part of your lifestyle. Training, cardio, eating right has to be just second nature, like brushing your teeth. And you have to realize this. It's something like, oh, I'm gonna, I have a reunion, I have a wedding coming up, I'm just gonna work out for 2 months and then stop. You know what I mean? Because you're setting yourself up for failure every time you set an end date on something. It's like, you're not gonna stop brushing your teeth. You know what I mean? It's something you're gonna have to do and stick with for the rest of your life, and that's how you have to approach it.
So what was the driving force initially behind you getting fit in the first place?
I definitely want to thank my father. My dad was an athlete. In our basement, we always had weights, actual iron, training weights. So he encouraged me to do sports, which is big in America, so I played American football, I played ice hockey, I did some boxing, baseball, lacrosse. These are all very athletic sports, but a lot of them are impact in collision sports. So my dad, he was a big guy, 6 feet, but my mom's tiny. She's only 4'11", she's a little girl. And my dad told me at a young age, he's like, look, I kind of screwed you. You're not going to get that tall, So I'm only 5'10", and I'm competing with these, big athletes. So he's like, this is how you do it. And he taught me how to work out. He actually, every day after work, he'd come home, this is how we train. And he would take me to local YMCAs and gyms, and as a kid, I would find out where Arnold Schwarzenegger was giving a seminar, Lou Ferrigno. So I would see all these guys big on life, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. So my dad would taught me everything, and there was all these good literature, books. He's like, the only way you're gonna be better is you learn and you study it, and it did. And I was lucky enough that through my athletics, I got a scholarship to play American football.
How did you become a fitness expert?
After my playing days, I always wanted to go to Gold's Gym in Venice Beach. That's the place of all places. In every magazine, every story, everything, everyone started out Gold's Gym. So I just started going there, and I started working out, and I got familiar with the people there, and At the time, I was just, bartending, just out of college, really didn't have a profession yet. And I met the owners. And they're like, you seem like a pretty dynamic guy. Would you ever be interested in working here? I'm like, oh, would I? Of course I would. And then through natural progression, I started working the gym. And a year later, they said, we want you to run our flagship facility. I was like, oh, how cool is this? So as the manager of Gold Gym Venice, you're going to come across probably the most dynamic trainers in the world, the most dynamic nutritionists. Everyone experts in the fields would train there. And I had I'm so thankful I was offered, to take their seminars, to take their courses, and as well as you'd have all the professionals, you'd have all your celebrities there, all your athletes. I mean, everyone. I mean, you'd see Michael Jordan come in, you see, your Schwarzenegger, you see every big name actor, and these guys would come in and I would train, during lunch break, and you get familiar with people as they're coming in there, and they'd be like, Mike, I noticed you're doing this a little different. Can you show me how? I'm like, sure. And they're like, hey, when these guys kept coming in. So finally, it came to a point that my schedule for work, I like run gym business, train with celebrity because they're in town. Because I would just do it because it was fun. That Mickey was very instrumental one time. He's such a good guy. He was just like, you should really take this as a profession. People are just coming to Gold's just to train with you, and you have an opportunity to take it to the next level. I was like, oh, wow, really? Think so? He's like, oh, don't be a knucklehead, of course, And then after Mickey was probably The Rourke, the big wrestler. And he was coming in, and it was I want to say, in the 90s that all of a sudden he got this opportunity to start playing in these mummy movies. I don't know if you remember the Mummy and the Scorpion King. And at that time, he was just a bigger-than-life character, He's like, Mike, I need to get a Hollywood physique. I really got to start trimming down. I can't be carrying, I can't be on film over almost 300 pounds, I'm like, all right, I'll work with you. And he goes, well, I'm doing these mummy movies. Can you travel with me? I was like, yeah, I would love to. And at that time, I talked to Gold. I have a great rapport with him. I still do a lot of work with him, but I resigned from being the manager. And I just started taking like the Mike Ryan training show on the road and working with The Rock. And then from there, I was fortunate enough to meet the guys doing Fight Club. So Edward Norton and Brad Pitt, they're like, hey, we heard about you. Can you come on board? I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, how cool is this? I'm working with the Hollywood's hottest guys, And it was so intense. We're just training. Everyone's getting in great shape. And it just blossomed from there.
So describe your areas of expertise and tell us about your personal style of fitness.
Okay, this is funny because, fitness has evolved so much. There's plyometrics, there's bounding, there's balls, there's Swiss balls, there's rubber bands, there's coordination, and I'm just old school. I don't really prescribe to all this, newfangled stuff. I like to just lift the iron. I know it's been around forever. It's proven effective, and you will get results. And it's hard work. You know what I mean? I think a lot of these other things you can kind of almost mimic hard work by doing something in a less intense way. So when people train with me, they're like, oh, he's going to kill us. But you're going to get the results you need. So I'm old school. I like to throw around a lot of heavy weights, dumbbells, barbells, that type of training. And then cardio, very cardio intense. And by cardio, I'm fortunate that we live here. I take guys on beach run. We wear weight vests. We run in the deep sand. Brutal stuff. That guy's just like, you stop. But everything that my clients do, I do with them. So I always lead by example, which, again, people be like, I can't fool this guy. Because I know, because he's doing it. He's probably 20 years older than me, and he's going to do it, so I have to work just as hard.
And what about people who fall off track, maybe that they've started and it's become a habit, and then all of a sudden something comes up to disrupt it? How can they get back on track again? Make
yourself a priority. No one wants to do that. Especially, everyone, they get their family, their work, it's funny when you look at it, when you remove yourself from the situation, okay? If you're a mom, it's like, all right, I have to take care of my kids. I have to make sure the meals are cooked. I have to go to work. I have to make sure what you're doing is you're making everyone else a priority, which is great, and it's loving and it's endearing, but you're not making yourself a priority. And heaven forbids if something happens to you. You know what I mean? By you not taking care of yourself is neglecting the whole process. You know what I mean? You're a nurturing woman, you're a mother, but if you get sick, the kid's gonna look, they're looking at you all the time, but if you're not able to provide for them in such a way, they're gonna be, oh, what happened to mom? And don't say, I don't have time, blah, 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 because I can take anyone's schedule. There's 24 hours a day. I can find at least 1 hour or at least 30 minutes a day that you can make yourself a priority.
Definitely. Well, it's been really inspiring talking to you today, and you've given us fantastic content there, and it's really going to inspire and motivate our audience. So thanks for sparing us the time, because I know that you're a very busy guy.